the mystery of a 1,000-year-old temple that surpasses all possible dating, an inexplicable symbol and a connection with another civilization thousands of kilometers away. Abydos, a name that resonates with the antiquity and mysteries of ancient Egypt, was one of the most important and sacred cities in Upper Egypt. For millennia, this place witnessed the evolution of one of the most fascinating civilizations in the world, housing from the first Egyptian dynasties to the great pharaohs of the New Kingdom. However, its history goes back even further, to the pre-dynastic period, when the Naqada culture began to lay the foundations of what would later become the great Egyptian civilization. Before the pyramids were erected and the pharaohs established themselves as living gods, Abydos already existed as a major settlement. The Naqada culture, which developed around 4000 BC, bears witness to the first signs of social and religious organization in the region. Abydos is thought to have been a primordial funerary center, where pre-dynastic elites built tombs and buried their dead. This place, which would later become the main sanctuary of Osiris, the god of the dead, was already imbued with an air of mystery and sacredness. Naqada. I left a deep mark on Abydos, with its sophisticated pottery and funerary customs, which laid the groundwork for the later development of Egyptian iconography and rituals. From those early times, Abydos established itself as a focal point for religion and politics, attracting generations of pharaohs who revered it as the resting place of the god Osiris. One of the most enigmatic sites at Abydos is the Osirion, an underground temple that has puzzled archaeologists and Egyptologists since its discovery. Built behind the Temple of Seti first, on a lower level, the Osirion was discovered by archaeologists Flinders Petrie and Margaret Murray in the 19th century while they were working on excavations of the Temple of Seti. The Osirion is notable not only for its unusual location, but also for the almost complete absence of inscriptions on its walls, something completely atypical for an Egyptian temple. Unlike the Temple of Seti, which is full of inscriptions and decorations, the Osirion seems submerged in a silence of stone, as if it had been built by a different civilization or in a much earlier era. Egyptologists often date the Osirion to the same time as the Temple of Seti first, around 1300 BC. However, multiple pieces of evidence suggest that this structure could be much older. One of the main pieces of evidence is that the Osirion is built at a much lower level than the Temple of Seti, in a geological stratum composed of Nile River sediments dating back to time immemorial. This suggests that the soil around the Osirion was deposited over millennia, which could place its construction in a much older time. Furthermore, the architectural style of the Osirion, with its use of gigantic megalithic stone blocks, is completely different from that of New Kingdom temples. Instead of the usual fine carvings and decorations, the Osirion features a massive, functional construction that is more reminiscent of the ancient stone monuments of Tiahuanaco in Bolivia or Stonehenge in England. Among the many mysteries of the Osirion, one of the most intriguing is the presence of a symbol known as the Flower of Life, carved into several of its stones. This symbol, which consists of a geometric pattern of interlocking circles, is not unique to Egypt. In fact, it has been found in various cultures and civilizations around the world, leading some researchers to theorize about an ancient global connection between them. The Flower of Life has been discovered in Turkey, China, and in the Phoenician, Assyrian, Indian, and Mesopotamian civilizations. It also appears in medieval European art. Most surprisingly, this symbol is not only found decorating monuments, but seems to have a deep meaning related to sacred geometry and the order of the universe. At the Osirion, The flower of life is not painted on the stones, but engraved with a precision almost impossible to achieve with the tools of the time. Some theorists have suggested that these marks were made using some kind of advanced technology, even speculating that lasers were used, although this theory is not supported by scientific evidence. The Osireion is not the only ancient monument that raises questions about the architectural capabilities of ancient civilizations. Thousands of kilometers from Egypt, in the heights of Bolivia, lies the archaeological site of Tiahuanaco, famous for its impressive megalithic constructions. Like the Osirion, the buildings of Tiahuanaco are made of giant stone blocks, some of which weigh several dozen tons. If you are interested in learning more about Tiahuanaco, above is my video on the subject. One of the most notable similarities between Abydos and Tiahuanaco is the use of an extremely precise construction technique which allows enormous stone blocks to be joined together without the use of mortar. At both sites, the stones appear to have been cut and assembled with a technology that defies modern understanding, creating structures that have withstood the passage of millennia. It has also been suggested that at both the Osirion and Tiahuanaco, the structures are astronomically aligned, reinforcing the idea that these ancient civilizations possessed an advanced knowledge of astronomy and engineering. At Tiahuanaco, for example, the Kalasasaya temple is oriented in such a way that it accurately marks the solstices and equinoxes, a phenomenon that has also been observed at several Egyptian temples, including the Osirion. Abydos and its Osirion, with its megalithic architecture and connection to universal symbols such as the flower of life, raise more questions than they answer. Despite Egyptologists' efforts to fit these structures into the conventional narrative of Egyptian history, evidence suggests that the Osirion may be much older than has been officially acknowledged. When compared to other megalithic monuments around the world, such as those at Tiahuanaco, it is clear that at some point in history, ancient civilizations possessed knowledge and technology that still baffles us today. Whether these sites were built by the Egyptians or discovered by them and repurposed, the mystery of Abydos remains one of the great enigmas of archaeology, challenging our ideas about the past and suggesting that we still have much to discover about ancient civilizations.